Right now, I'm gonna bring it back to the funk.
I love using electronic piano in my tracks. It really gives them a kind of luscious, warm kind of feel. And when Plugin Boutique reached out to me and said they were working on a brand new instrument with Sampleson, I knew I had to give it a try. And this is it. It's the Stage54. It's a combined effort between Sampleson and Plugin Boutique. Sampleson have done loads of sampled instruments. Their modeling is really good and it gets a really great sound out of it. And this is all based on an electronic piano from the late 70s, one that I don't know if it's well known, but it's certainly very rare apparently, and they've made it into an instrument. Also, if you want to get hold of this, it's actually on introductory offer at the moment, 40% off, but that's only until the 2nd of April, so you've not got long. I'll put a link underneath this video to that offer, but let's jump into it and see how it sounds. That's got a really nice sound straight away. In fact, I'm feeling a bit lazy today, so I'm going to go and use Chordjam with this so I can just hit one key and get a lovely chord out of it. I've already got Chordjam set up within my project. Let's set it as the input. Oh, that's a wonderful, wonderful sound. Just hitting one key on my keyboard. If you want to get hold of Chordjam, I'll put a link to that underneath this video as well. But let's jump back into this instrument. It really has a wonderfully warm sound. Now, there aren't that many controls on here, so I'm just going to start playing around with a few. We have drive, compression, reverb, tremolo, tone, and phaser. Just a bit of overdrive there, makes it nice and gritty. The compression works really nicely for leveling all the notes out there. Kind of really combines it nicely. Now, I'm never usually a fan of inbuilt reverb within instruments. Let's see how this sounds. It's a nice kind of tight room reverb. Yeah, it kind of works quite nicely in a limited amount. Let's have a look at the tremolo. Now there's two controls on this. You can turn it on and off here, and then obviously the amount. That tremolo is lovely. It really works nicely. And I'm guessing you could also map that tremolo to your mod wheel on your keyboard, for example. It almost feels like a high pass, almost just like it's getting rid of some of the body. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's just a filter, but it does have a nice quality to it. That phaser is quite cool. It's kind of got this disco-y kind of feel, but yeah, it works nicely. Now you've also got 3 tabs at the top here. You've got the instrument, which is just this instrument page. Then we have the presets within here. So you've got the factory bank. So just various different versions of the settings that are down below. I would say probably with this limited amount of kind of settings, you don't really need presets so much, but it's actually kind of nice that you can actually find the settings that you like and then obviously make your own preset out of that. So that might work quite nicely. And then on the settings tab, well, there's only really one setting, and that is the zoom factor for the actual plugin, which of course is your own personal taste. Of course, with all electronic pianos, you usually have a different kind of tone depending on the velocity of the keys that you're pressing. So I want to try like some heavy velocity and then some light velocity, see how that sounds. I'm actually using Chordjam here to kind of vary the velocity. So each time I hit a key, it's playing a velocity in between these two little parameters here. The hard notes actually sound really good. Sometimes they can become a little bit mangled on certain electronic pianos. They just sound a bit too overdriven, but even that's got some use. Let's try a lighter velocity. And that's about it as far as controls go, but I like the fact that it's nice and simple. You can get sound out of it that you like really quickly. Now I want to see if I can come up with an idea with it, a track idea. Now I'm thinking today I want to do something a bit kind of garagey because I love that kind of Rhodes kind of sound. I think it might work quite nicely for a bit of two-step. Yeah, I think something along those lines is probably going to work. Now I just need to get in there and clean this up a little bit. Enough of that metronome, let's get some drums in there. In fact, I think I'm going to duplicate those Rhodes and put some long Rhodes in underneath it. Exactly the same chords, clear out those stabs, legato those chords. In fact, let's take those down in velocity so they're nice and soft. Put a bit of compression on them as well, get the sidechain going. Sidechain that to the kick coming out of the XO. Let's get a held string in there from the Chordjam 1. D sounds nice for that. Copy that same sidechain over. And a little bit of bass from the sub, I reckon. I'm going to put links to all these instruments and plugins that I use underneath this video if you want to get hold of any of them. I'm going to copy the MIDI notes over. Let's just take the root notes out of there maybe. Bit too static. I'm going to drop down these notes, maybe down 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get that side chain in over that bass as well. Also think I want to put some high-end Rhodes in there, maybe just to fill the gaps. So I'm going to duplicate that Rhodes layer and I'm just going to deactivate all these notes. Yeah, something in here. So you've got some gaps in here maybe. Sounds really nice that. I'm actually going to increase that reverb on here. Bit of phasing on there as well. In fact, I'm going to duplicate that across here as well. Maybe change the notes around a little bit. I actually like that second one better. I also want to put some tremolo on those longer notes as well. You know what, I think that Stage 54 is actually a brilliant little instrument. It's obviously been sampled very, very well, and I know the controls on it are a little bit limited, but do you really need more controls than that? Ultimately, if you want to do more processing on it, that's what you've got all your own audio plugins for, so you can do that after it. Ultimately, you just want that great sound coming straight out of the instrument, which I really think the Stage 54 has. I do use electronic piano in my track quite a bit. I tend to use the Air Velvet, that's made its way into a lot of my tracks, but recently I've been using Artoria's Stage54, which is another amazing electronic piano. Even the inbuilt Ableton electric instrument is actually really good, and I use that quite a bit. But I can definitely see myself using Stage54 because it has amazing stabs that come out of it. Mainly, generally, when I use electronic pianos, the longer chords work fantastically. They usually come out lovely and warm and wonderful, but stab chords often cannot sound great and require quite a bit of processing. However, with the Stage 54, almost out of the box, those kind of stabs sound great, so I can definitely see myself using this more in the future.
Right now, I'm gonna bring it back.